Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 65 and Counting. I'm your host, Adam Fry. I'm a certified Medicare planner, and I'm here to ask the important questions that you want answered by industry professionals. This show is for everyone and anyone who's coming up on that important milestone of 65 years old. That means retirement, it means Medicare eligibility, or it means that you're just plain interested in the world of retirement planning. Whatever it is, on this show, you'll hear from the people that know it best. And I have got a great show for you today. So as you know, there's a few companies around here that all work together to provide retiring seniors with the best possible experience. And today's guest is from one of those companies, the Medicare Architects. Now, she's the first guest from that company that we'll have on the show. We've got the Medicare Architects Executive Relationship Manager and Human Resources Consultant, Loraleigh Drummond, on in just a few short minutes. But first, it's time for in-person workshops. That's right. This week and next week, we will be in libraries across the Las Vegas Valley, bringing Medicare information to life. So come on by and tell your friends. You can learn the basics of Medicare in this free informational workshop, or you can just come and get my autograph. If you're not quite comfortable with attending a public event yet, that's okay too. Or if you're not in the Las Vegas area, it's all okay because we still have online workshops going on as well right now. So for a complete schedule of our in-person and online workshops, visit www.123easymedicare.com. But without further ado, this is a great interview today with Loraleigh Drummond. All right, everyone, and here she is. This is Loraleigh Drummond from the Medicare Architects. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Adam. How are you doing?
Good, good. I'm so excited to have you on the show. You're actually the first guest from the Medicare Architects that we have on here. And I've got to ask, I've been asking everybody that's been coming on the show, how is this quarantine treating you? What steps have you been taking to stay healthy?
So I'm on the far end of risk. I don't really want to get the virus, so this is my day out. I haven't even ventured out to a restaurant yet. We're ordering in. We're doing a lot of cooking at home. We both like to cook, so that's okay. But I mask up everywhere. So yeah, I'm done with this quarantine. I'm anxious for moving on to phase 2.
That's right. Yeah, I've spent a lot of time stuck at home too. A lot of money spent on Grubhub, but we do some cooking too. Tell us a little bit about, so quarantine aside, I want to hear about your life outside of work. You know, what kind of hobbies do you have? Tell me about your family. Let's get to know Loraleigh.
Sure. So I have a significant other who is my better half, and my daughter is 28. Of course, she's out there in the world, so she's doing her thing in also in human resources and benefits, and also understands the insurance game. So apple doesn't fall far from the tree. One of the biggest effects of the quarantine on our lifestyle is the fact that we like to do a lot of local travel, and I'm not going to be staying in any hotels anytime soon. So one of our hobbies is called cattywampling, and all that means is that we get in the car and then we start down the highway and then we pick an exit and then we just find whatever suits our fancy to stop in. So we've found some really incredible places here in Arizona, an hour or two outside of the Phoenix area. And it's been interesting to get to know where we live.
I've never heard of that. That sounds like a lot of fun. I've got a road trip coming up this weekend. Maybe we'll try and just get off on an exit and see what's there.
Just jump on a highway, head south. I can tell you some excellent cattywampling areas to invest
in. Right. And I've seen on Facebook, I've seen your posts of some cool places that you visited, and it looks like you do some hiking out there too, and you guys take great pictures.
Yeah, we like to hike and kayak and just get as much of nature around us as we can. It's right. Very healthy.
So you said you're in the insurance game, you have family in the insurance game. What were you doing before you started helping people with the Medicare Architects?
So a lot of my background revolves around editing and writing and marketing. But I did get involved in insurance in some bigger insurance carriers, about 7 years of experience with two major carriers. And I was looking to do something different. My book of business was very large. I was mostly in pharmaceutical commercial insurance, and a wonderful opportunity just sort of presented itself. I've known the Schaefer family for a long time, and uh, David Schaefer's wife, Thea, and I are very good friends, and we worked on some events in our kids' high school that involved fundraising and financial strategies. And we shared some creative avenues in that high school experience together. And of course, our friendship blossomed. And but as luck would have it, we happened to reconnect, and Thea told me about a wonderful opportunity that her son, Ian, was going to begin, that was a spinoff off his father, David Schaefer's larger company, American Retirement Advisors. And this position 100% spoke to me because it involved not only my love of marketing and connecting and creating relationships, but also what the Medicare Architects was going to do for corporations. So it sort of embodied all of the areas that I had had previous experience in.
That's great. Yeah. And so you mentioned it, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier. You're the first guest we've had on the show from from the Medicare Architects. And I want you to tell me a little bit about what it is and where did it come from?
So when American Retirement Advisors was helping clients with their Medicare decisions, one of the underlying themes that always presented was that employees would say, why didn't we know about this sooner? Why didn't our human resource department engage us a little bit more in how Medicare works? And as you and I both know, Medicare is a very complex subject, and our human resource professionals wear a lot of hats. So Ian saw a perfect opportunity through his experience with his dad's company, American Retirement Advisors, to expand on this opportunity. Why not bring the level of support that we're giving individuals to the human resource professionals? And then that way we could help to educate and provide background and more information on Medicare so that individuals could start to use that information in their planning when they got to a stage where they would want to transition to Medicare. And so that's kind of what our platform is. And I have this great opportunity of meeting with different companies and municipalities and human resource professional organizations in trying to show them how we are a great opportunity as a partnership to potentially offload one of the things that they have on their plates every day. And that's in the benefit realm. So the same way that they would manage kind of having a specialist in the commercial insurance for their employees, we would kind of become their specialist in the Medicare realm. And that way, if it makes good sense for employees to transition to Medicare while they're still working, you have a group of experts that can help you on how to do that.
Right, right. That's great, and that's really exciting. What is your role at the Medicare Architects? I know you got into it a little bit earlier, but kind of explain to us in detail, what are you doing there? Are you putting out any blogs, things like that?
Sure, and this is where I get the advantage of wearing many hats also. One of the advantages, and of course our main goal, is to create partnerships, and I create those by building relationships with HR professionals. I do manage a blog on our the Medicare Architects website, or clicktma.com, and that's a nice resource for both HR professionals and individuals who want to learn some of the nuances about Medicare or some of the nuances that are particularly important while they're still working. Another place where I'm enjoying kind of reaching out and creating information so that people know what we do is on LinkedIn. So I've been posting some sort of creative and fun little ads for people to look at and get to know, again, what our business is and what we're hoping to do and provide as a resource for them. So there's lots of places where we are reaching out to companies and municipalities and letting them know that they have support if employees come to them and have questions about Medicare.
Great. And what do you think the biggest misconception that you mentioned earlier, human resources, what do you think the biggest misconception that human resources and retiring seniors have about Medicare?
So I don't know if it's so much a misconception, except the biggest one always is, when do I need to sign up? That's probably one of our more popular questions is, I'm turning 65, I still have my employer plan, and do I need to sign up for Medicare now? As a relationship manager, I'm trying to express to the human resource professionals that we come in as a consultant and we look at the benefit plans and we discuss with them kind of their employee structure, and then we make suggestions on what might be a good strategy for them. If they're looking for, budget options, sometimes it makes good sense to promote a transition strategy. And we have professionals in our organization that are certified Medicare planners, and they are the ones that would work with their employees in creating that glide path to Medicare when it makes sense. So again, I don't think it's so much a misconception, but I think it's an opportunity for a lot of companies to have this partnership, so that if you need a resource, you have a live team for anything Medicare that sure beats sending them to a website for their information. And I cannot tell you, Adam, how many companies I've worked with and I review their benefits plans. And when we get down to the retirement opportunities, the first thing that I see is that for Medicare, Medicare.gov. And again, they provided this warm environment in bringing their employees on and providing these opportunities on how their benefit structure works. But when we get down to the retirement angle of things, we sort of lose that human partnership. And that's what we're trying to continue to retain in those organizations, is that when they're going to retire, we want to be able to foster, hey, we've got some certified Medicare planners who can help you answer all your questions and make that transition very smooth and compliant.
Right. And then working with human resources, I'm sure anybody in human resources knows what SHERM is, but for our viewers, can you explain a little bit about what SHERM is and what the Medicare Architects relationship is with them?
Sure. SHERM is the Society for Human Resource Management, and it's a wonderful organization that I know that human resource professionals go through an extensive amount of training and testing to secure that designation. And the organization is incredible, as are other human resource professional organizations, in providing one main stream of support for everything that they can do to successfully guide their employees. So we've found a wonderful niche with them because our brand and our purpose is to help them with this whole Medicare discussion. So they just seem to be open-armed with us providing any kinds of resources for making that simpler in their corporations. So we've been fortunate to be on panels where we try to express how we continue to sort of close the circle in the benefits area on how Medicare makes good sense to have the same partnership that you do on the rest of your benefit structure. So SHERM is like a one-stop shopping for everything that can help solve human resource questions, and we're kind of that for Medicare, one-stop shopping for Medicare.
Right, right. And also, I believe the Medicare Architects, if someone from SHERM or a human resources representative sits in on one of our workshops, I heard that they get a little bit of credit towards some continuing education. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
it is true. And in fact, um, in some of our corporations, human resources wants to continue to retain the support of how to guide their employees on Medicare. And we support that by providing the basics and education of Medicare for them. So if they attend one of our workshops, we do credit them with one SHERM PDC that they can what would you say, they can send over to SHERM and they can get a credit toward their continuing education for their designation. So we're happy to support that.
Right. And then how would a human resource employee benefit from a company like the Medicare Architects?
Um, the first part of what we do is to consult with them to see how they handle Medicare in their organization. And then depending on what that response is, we can customize our support for them. So if all they want to do is for us to be a resource for questions, we have that availability. If they want to learn more about Medicare and offer that support to their employees on their own, again, we can offer that educational opportunity for them. We can even support educational opportunities for their employees. If they decide that they're wearing enough hats, and they would be more than happy, given the complexities of Medicare, to let us handle all of that for them, then we can also manage the entire Medicare transition process from education all the way down to enrollment. We kind of let our companies dictate to us what way we can best help them.
That's amazing, and that's so helpful. Is there any literature that you'd recommend for human resources or retiring seniors to take a look at?
So one of the things that one of our biggest goals that we take over from our parent company, American Retirement Advisors, is that we always want to make sure that we're doing what's best and what's right for our clients. And foremost in the whole Medicare process, because it is so complex, is making sure that people understand what Medicare is before they make plan selections or decide to transition from their group plans. So two of the resources that we use, one of them is Medicare Made Easy, which is in its 9th edition. That was written by both David Schaefer and Ian Schaefer for the purposes of making Medicare 1, 2, 3 easy. And then another resource that we have available, which I can supply upon request, is HR's Guide to Medicare. And this is an interesting guide because it creates and provides some scenarios that are very popular in the corporate setting and gives them some solutions. So we've got solutions in a book that they can use, or they can make a phone call and we can give them a solution. So many opportunities to create a partnership that makes Medicare at work 1, 2, 3 easy.
Right. And where can we help human resources and retiring seniors? Like where in the country?
We are licensed in almost every state. We hold true to the same concept that our parent company does, that we work as a fiduciary. When we are care agnostic, which means we spend a lot of time making sure that we can help anyone in any state, so we are available to anyone nationwide. And I think that makes it easier for companies too, because we have some of our corporations that have multiple locations or manufacturing plants, and we're able to help a company that may be based here in Arizona but has multiple locations. So we're not restricted to or limited to a demographic area. We're able to help employees everywhere.
It sounds like the Medicare Architects is doing an amazing thing, and they're helping people all over the country, get help and make sure that they're on the most appropriate plan for their retirement. It's providing these resources to human resources, and allowing them to be a little bit more educated in the field of retirement and, what happens to their employees after they're done working. And it sounds like you help a lot with that, and you provide a lot of people a lot of help. What would you say motivates you the most to do what you do?
So when I first started with the Medicare Architects, I needed to understand what the relationship was between our certified Medicare planners and advisors with their clients. And I know firsthand how complex Medicare is. And the training that I received here made everything so easy, and I understood it. But the thing that continued to stick out for me is the looks on their clients' faces when they seemed to walk in with a lot of confusion and concern, and the relief that they felt when they left the room. It bowled me over. And I really wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be a part of reaching employees when they were making their decisions and their plans for retirement. And I wanted to make sure that people didn't make the wrong choices. So that's what I've seen. I've seen the results of things that we have solved for people and the way we have provided them with solutions they didn't know existed. So it's very rewarding because you can make things easier and stress-free for people.
Right. What do you think is the most rewarding about what you do?
I think after we meet with a client and we start to help some of their employees and we continue to get referrals based off of those employees, that is our reward for knowing that we created a solution for that employer. And also immediately we create a relationship with our human resource professional, and then they can call us at any time, even if they have one small question about whether an employee should go on COBRA or take a retirement benefit offering. That's the reward that that we're showing them a resource.
And do you have anything else that you want our listeners to know or to think about, or maybe it's something that I left out? Just anything. This is your time to kind of tell everybody, anything that you think we might have left out.
So interestingly enough, when we express to anyone that we meet with what all the services we provide, they always want to know what their cost is going to be and for all this service. And I guess I should have said earlier, that was one of the other things I enjoy, is that we don't do this. There's no fee involved in all of this consultation or services that we provide. This is genuinely a service. And if we earn the right to sign someone up for Medicare, if it makes sense in their transitional plan to transition from an employer plan, then the insurance companies will pay us. But for all of our consultation or any of these small questions or meeting with a client and creating the relationship also with that client, there's no fee for any of our service.
That is amazing. And all our other guests have been on and let us know the same thing, is that there's no charge to meet with a certified Medicare planner. There's no charge for our help. And Loraleighs, can you tell our listeners where they can find you on social media or possibly, online? Do you have any blogs that you want people to read?
Sure. You can find us on Facebook and LinkedIn. We do have a website at the MedicareArchitects.com or clicktma.com. You can call our office at 1-800-568-1095. And we'll be happy to help you. We can hook you up with a certified Medicare planner if you have a question for a specific employee, or you can even send me an email at laura@clicktma.com, and I'm happy to answer questions for you.
And I'll have all that information in the description of this episode, so if you just look down, it should be right there. And Laura, I am so happy you were able to come on today. I'm very excited to have somebody from the Medicare Architects on the show. Tell us a little bit about the company and about you. I think we learned a lot today. And again, just thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Adam. Have a great rest of the week.
All right, you too. And that's our episode for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and follow us. Share us with all your friends, and we will see you next Monday. Have a great week.